Here's the guide that you are gonna have. And what I did, I went through and I did just a quick tutorial so that you have a visual. You click that link right here. It's going to walk you through. I also give screenshots. You might be a person, hey, just tell me how to do it. I tell you step by step how to get started, along with screenshots and bullet points. I just try to accommodate for each different type of preference that you all might have. And then once you get to what is this page 5, here are the exact prompts that you're going to grab. All right. And we're going to walk through all the way from the moment you get a referral, all the way through you're completing the referral, and now you're building out recommendations. And it's prompts for each step in between. I break it down into 3 parts. The first part is the prompt that you're going to use, and it includes the full prompt. You can take this, make a copy, and then modify it however you like. We'll dive a bit deeper once we get into the platform. But the next part is going to be the actual template. And you can copy the prompt and then copy this as a template, and it walks you through in the brackets. You're going to replace what's in these brackets with the information. So in this example, the main concern, teacher input, parent input, current supports, any information that you have. It's super straightforward. The structure has been done for you. And then, Amy, I'm providing a sample of what type of data you might want to include. And so in this example, we're given, here's all the different type of data that you might include, okay? Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna jump into the actual platform, and we're gonna walk through this together, okay? The first thing we're gonna do, just how we described inside of the prompting guide, we're gonna create a new thread. Once you're inside of the new thread, you're gonna grab that prompt. I like to hit this expand button, and this just gives you a little bit more real estate to work. And then what you're gonna do, you're gonna paste inside the exact prompt. Again, this is the prompt that we pull from right here. It's the exact same. And then the next section is literally right here, okay? I just happen to fill it out. And then I'm gonna clean it up just a little bit. You don't have to, but I just wanna clean it up. And then review. If you want to upload some data, you can click this paper clip, upload the data in, you can paste it in, whatever you want. And then when you're ready, you're gonna click submit. I like to just collapse that back down. And then Sophia is gonna run. She's gonna take this prompt, this context, this information, and then she's gonna answer it. And then here's what Sophia says. I'm going to zoom in just a bit. The team is essentially asking one central question. And let's back up again. What do we ask Sophia? Here's a prompt. Sophia, here is the referral concern. Help me understand what the team is asking and what questions I may need to answer in this evaluation. Listen, if we have 100+ referrals for the year, even if you have 50, they might start to blur together. You might start, all right, what school is this? Because I have 3 different schools I have to go between. You might need a little bit of help. And this prompt really gets at that. And then Sophia says, the team is essentially asking one central question. Thanks, Sophia, for making this so plain. But I don't have the cognitive capacity with all these referrals. Does Marcus have a specific learning disability in reading and or written expression, or are his difficulties better explained by other factors? This is actually really, really helpful. I wish I had this when I was a practitioner. And then the referral paints a fairly classic picture of a student who is struggling with reading acquisition and output. It goes on and on and on. And then look at this, y'all. The questions you'll need to answer fall into several domains. First, you need to establish, and then it goes through all this different information of things that it might be useful of doing, okay? We're going to pause here. Questions, comments, reflections about this part so far and how we're having a conversation with Sophia. I'm going to bring you all back, and we'll pause here.
This is actually really beneficial for our IEP teams when we're doing either a disposition or referral and we decide to move forward, or a planning meeting. Our staff tend to not know what answers that they're looking to discover. You know, they don't know what the question is. They just do an automatic Wyatt or a KTEA because that's what they're supposed to do, and the evaluation stops there, as opposed to really looking at what the referral question is, whether it's a new evaluation for a student not yet identified, or one that's, you know, up for their triennial review. So this will be helpful.
That's excellent to hear. And this goes back to the clinical precision. So often we don't have the time and space to really dive into the reason for referral. And look, let's just be honest, y'all. We're getting all of these cases coming in. I'm just gonna go to my general battery that I do. We're gonna keep rolling. Let's knock it out and move to the next one. But now, because we can have our thought partner who can do this for us, this is not to say that we can't do it. Again, it's an issue of the systems that we're asked to reside and operate within. And when we don't have the time and capacity, it makes it difficult. We can do it, we just don't have the capacity. Therefore, our thought partner, Sophia, can help us. Now we have this context and information, we could keep rolling. Laura, thank you for that and bringing that into the conversation. Any other comments so far?
Yeah, I have one. This brings me back to an episode on my one professor, Psych to Practice. He has a podcast, Dr. Ray Christner, and there was an episode on conceptualizing the referral concern. And when you're a case manager on these teams, like, I mean, I'm sure a lot of the members or the other members of the evaluation team feel like they're regurgitating or they reiterated the concerns so many times. But for us as practitioners and the preciseness of what we have to do, having Sophia as a thought partner to process through this succinctly, like it's like sort of like building the foundation to a building. I mean, it's clutch, it's core, and it's so important. A lot of other people on the team may not see the importance to that. So you do have Sophia to help you parse that out amongst all your referrals and to conceptualize that so you can be, you know, have that so you can, customize that evaluation plan and move forward succinctly. Yeah, it's totally awesome, clutch, all good.
Ooh, thank you for that. You know, I have there's so much I want to do. Like I can see it, but it's like making this happen. And we are all right, I'm not gonna go off. I'm gonna pause, Julie. I think we're preaching to the choir. Tony, was that you?
I could see it more useful. Like this process right here that you're doing is basically like our read process when we're getting consent for evaluations. And I don't know, in Michigan, like typically any eligibility that we could potentially be looking at, we're doing very comprehensive evals. So like we're, you know, if they could possibly qualify under another health impairment or emotional impairment, learning disability, we're filling out numerous METs, so we would have to have that data. Where I could see it be more useful would be using her as like a thought partner when we're looking at other rule out things, such as like this year I've had a lot of students with significant truancy issues, and when we're looking at like lack of instruction, that like at what point would that be a rule out for the student, and looking at like trends over the years and how much instruction they've missed, I could see it being more useful there. Or looking at when we're considering several different certifications for eligibility, making sure that we're not missing anything there. So I can see it maybe being used in a different way.
Yes, Tony, perfectly said. And that's my hope with this. At each one of those steps, each phase. Tony,
and I have tried using it. Like we had we've had a lot of students this year that have had significant like truancy issues with like missing up to like 90% of like certain hours and stuff like that. And I did use it when I was completing METs, when we're looking at that lack of instruction and kind of different things to consider, especially like we were doing a reevaluation, the student was under an emotional impairment, but really wasn't presenting with any characteristics of an emotional impairment. And so we were reevaluating, and typically, like if it was due to like anxiety keeping them out of school or whatever, that we might have marked that box differently. But in this case, like I used it and just like, what else could I consider or to support that really this missed instruction is what's causing it, and was it a determinant factor versus, since he wasn't presenting with that emotional impairment. But we really had to have that data for when we were doing the dismissal with his parents. So it was very useful, I thought.
Excellent. I'm working on another document. I might give you all a sneak peek of it, but it's going to ask some of those questions. And if you all have been with me for a while, one of my favorite prompts is, what am I missing? What haven't I considered? And applying that to, the referral question, to the data, to things such as attendance and truancy, and what haven't we thought through? What haven't we considered? All right, let's keep rolling. So now, if we're looking at that document, the prompting guide, the next section, we're going to have our thought partner, Sophia, to help us come up with a simple evaluation plan. Okay. Now, here's the prompt that we're going to do. And again, I'm going to expand, going to paste that in. And we're saying, Sophia, based on this referral concern, help me create a simple evaluation plan. Tell me what areas I may need to assess and why. And then we paste back in the same referral concern. Back inside, we include some of the strengths, current supports as well. What we could do, because we're having a conversation, you might not even necessarily need all of this information, but I like to just give Sophia as much context as possible. Sophia, based on this referral concern, help me create a simple evaluation plan. Do we love this question? I don't know if I love this. How might we make this one better, y'all? I'm going to zoom in so you all can see. Help me create a simple evaluation plan. Personalized for this student. Keep in mind cultural and environmental considerations, and ensure I develop a comprehensive battery of assessment and testing procedures to fully answer the referral question.
Would this be a good spot to put in the verbiage of assessed in all areas of suspected disability and related disabilities? Right in here somewhere? Or no?
Assessed in. For this one, we're looking at developing the plan. And so are we wanting to make sure that Sophia is assessing across all of those areas? Okay, say it for me one more time. I'm going to put something together.
So for my state, I have to make sure that I have a statement that I'm assessing the student in all areas of suspected disability and suspected related disabilities.
Let me go to the referral concern. This teacher, boom, there we go. Suspects a possible learning disability. Let's make this a bit more complex. A suspected learning disability reports Let's take it up a notch. English is his second language, and he has missed 65 days of school or more since first grade. Okay, we're adding this in. So now, Amy, when we come back, ensure the assessment covers all areas of suspected disabilities. I wanted to get at how can we look at rule in or rule out, and also other suspected areas. So not just the learning disability here. But I might be trying to do too much. Amy, is this good enough? Or can we wordsmith it a bit more?
I'm wondering if you word it something like consider exclusionary factors such as lack of instruction, language, those exclusionary factors that we have on all of our METs, making sure
Yes.
that those are each considered.
And we're not going to name the exclusionary factors. We're going to test Sophia right here. I want to test her based on the suspected disability. Let's see if she names what those exclusionary factors are. Julie, is that conniving a little bit? Okay, I'm going to copy this because I actually think this is pretty good, y'all. And submit. I'm going to collapse that back down. I'm going to paste this prompt here just in case we like it. And if we like it, I'm going to paste this inside of the prompting guide for us as well. This is exciting stuff, y'all. Okay. And in a few seconds, this case has several critical factors that will shape your evaluation approach. The ESL status and significant attendance concerns are not minor details. They are central to determining whether this is a learning disability or something else. This is good. Your evaluation plan needs to systematically address the critical precision. Address these factors as exclusionary considerations. All right, I just sent that to you all. Cognitive and intellectual assessment. All right. All right, how much time do we have? We're about to get into it. You'll want to assess cognitive functioning to establish an ability. Ooh, I don't know, Sophia. And to examine the patterns of cognitive. Now, Sophia's just giving us everything. She's giving us every model to assess possible. Given Marcus's ESL status, this is particularly important. Yes, you need a solid estimate of his true cognitive ability that isn't confounded by language proficiency. That's really good, Sophia. Consider using a culturally fair or nonverbal measure as part, this is good, Sophia, of the battery, or at minimum, interpret the verbal subtest cautiously. Nice. This pattern, the pattern of strong oral participation in competition when text is read aloud, bringing in that context. This is why providing context is so important. Suggests his verbal ability may be considerably higher than his reading scores would indicate. And then it goes through academic achievement. Your achievement battery should comprehensively cover the three core areas of reading: word reading, reading fluency, and reading comprehension. Given the referrals specifically mentions written expression difficulties, you'll also need formal measures. This, I could see if I'm a grad student, an early career practitioner, or even a practitioner who's just overwhelmed, how this could be pretty helpful for me. Then it brings in the phonological processing. I love this. Very, very good. Phonological awareness, rapid naming. This is really, really good. Boom, boom, boom. Just scanning here. A language assessment. Now, Sophia, you're all right. This is where we also bring in our clinical expertise and judgment. I might not have access to this. This might be best practice. But thank you, Sophia, for sharing. And then some social emotional behavioral assessments, executive functioning and processing. Amy says, can she suggest possible tests? That's what I was scanning to see if we're going to get through this. Now, let's have a discussion. Sophia, and let's go back to the prompts. Help me create a simple evaluation plan. personalized for the student. And then we told her a lot of what to keep in mind. Ensure the assessment covers all of these things. Let's have a discussion. How do we feel about Sophia telling us or recommending or suggesting possible tests to give?
I think
Karina.
it does give you different things to consider that maybe you may not think about when you're just trying to, do the assembly line testing. So I think it'll help you stop and think about what you should think about. Does that make sense?
It does.
Or
It
you
does.
start to assess a student. I think it would have been interesting to add, because you had the areas to test and why, and we didn't put that as part of the prompt. I was kind of curious, like, if it would be a little more specific if we put that in there. But I think this gave a good rundown of definitely things to think about. It did feel a little overwhelming at first, I have to admit. I was like, oh my gosh, there's so many different things. But then I thought, well, but it only focused on reading. It didn't focus on other areas, because that was the only referral question, was around reading,
Yeah.
which I love. And our state allows us to just test the concern. So if there's not a math or a writing concern, we don't have to decide to test that as a team. We can just focus on the reading. So that is a nice perk, at least here. So
Yeah. And what state are you in?
I'm in Washington State.
Washington. Got it. Thank you, Leslie. All right,
Mhm.
Karina, I saw your hand.
Yeah, I'm for it. I kind of agree with Leslie. I think it gives you an idea, maybe an assessment measure that you didn't think of. Obviously, I think as like a first year or as an intern, I still think it could be a good resource, but obviously like work with your supervisor, even as a practitioner, make sure that it's still an appropriate measure. But I think sometimes when you're overwhelmed, it is nice to kind of have a list of assessment measures. So I wonder if we could do that. Like if we could ask Sophia, like, yeah, specific assessment measures.
Yeah.
I think it would be more useful too to like newer practitioners. Like, to be honest, like I've been in the field like 20 some years, and I would know like what to assess for. Like I don't think that would be very useful for me, just to know like what to do for an evaluation plan. I could see it being more used, maybe like if there was any other specific measures, maybe if like English was our second language, any other like measures or informal measures maybe to use that maybe I wasn't familiar with, that's based, that has research to back it up. That would be how I would use it more, but it would be useful maybe for like if you're in your beginning years of a psychologist. But for like me, I probably wouldn't go through that whole process, just because we're doing those comprehensive evaluations already. So
Yeah, I like that, Tony. And that's the beauty. You can modify and edit based. And this is why I keep telling people we have to use Sophia as a thought partner so that we can engage in that type of dialogue and conversation based on what we need. Now, I see a couple things happening. You all might notice I said, based on the previous response, give me a suggested list of testing procedures to administer. I was moving fast. And then it gave us testing procedures by domain. It didn't actually name them. I think several things are happening. I think it's how I prompted. I have another prompt queued up that says name the specific assessment measures. And Ed, I don't know if Ed is still here or working on some bugs. I also think it might be some guardrails that we've put in and just how we've kind of taught Sophia to where Sophia may help us, but might not give you the exact assessments, because Sophia, how we train her, might think that's your job to do, which I'm okay with that.
what did you have to put in though, like for specific like ages and like what the reliability and validity for, like she would have to know what that was for each of those tests to be able to even give
that's right,
good recommendations.
For it to be a good recommendation. And this is why I wanted to open this up so that we can have a conversation. And Tony, you're getting to my thinking. And Ed and I, just because we're so close to this, we see behind the curtain, not just of our platform, but all of these platforms, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini. And unless like some of the bigger ones, they might be able to pull in even new assessments, right? Like the WJ5 but some of them might not. And so one of these assessments recommended, I'm going to say when we were first starting, the WISC 3 or what was the WISC R or something like that. Y'all remember that one? It's like, wait, what are you talking about? Why would you give
I
me
wonder
that?
if you could put in like the test, like where they do the test reviews and journals, like with that data in there with the validity and reliability, but you'd still have to tell it, correct? Like
That's
exactly
right.
what
That's
our
right.
standards are and what the measures should be.
Yeah. And so when we're getting into this, like it's a benefit of our platform, and there's a massive knowledge base. So internal team, like, can we add this to our feature requests? But like those validity is like that's where this stuff matters, and especially the public facing ones, so that when we ask this type of question, I almost don't even want to ask Sophia this because I don't know what she's going to tell us here, to be honest. And I also think this is where for that clinical precision, like that's on the practitioner. But I do like what Tony said, which is, hey, you suggested that we provide some additional administrations for like ESL. Like, help me think through what are some options for that, because I might not know. All right. Or even thinking through what are some pros of administering a Wechsler nonverbal versus a unit. Help me think through those things. And y'all see the qualifier at the end? Help me think through. We need to capture that somewhere. Just some general considerations, because these are things that can help. And I'll clean this up, but some general considerations that are really good prompts. Sophia, help me think through. I have a whole nother document that's going to be really good. I'll share that with you all. Any other questions, comments before we keep rolling? I think this might be one of the most impactful office hours that we've had. This is really good. Okay.
I had a question if you have a second.
I knew it, Julie. I was pausing for you.
I know you were waiting. Sophia keeps talking about discrepancy, and in Kansas, we did away with that several years ago. So is there a way that I can prompt her to not give me the recommendation of discrepancy model?
Yeah, look, that's what.
Or like, can we
it.
like, is there a way that we could like upload our county guidelines for like a learning disability? Because even like if we're using a pattern strike the weaknesses, that could look different depending on like what state you're in or district or how that's determined. Like, is there a way for us to like upload our eligibility criteria for our county or like a learning disability? So every time like she's going through that lens versus,
Yes.
you know, okay. Because like for our county, you know, we'd have all the different eligibility guidelines documents that we could like upload. And like, I don't know if you could like tell her to specifically be following our county guidelines for a learning disability or emotional impairment, like what criteria that we're using.
Got it. Okay, here's what you all are going to use. And if you all couldn't see, I'm going to paste it inside of the chat. And it's also, we're just going to keep a running list of general considerations. And you all should be able to comment. I would love if you all if y'all want a consideration added here for the good of our entire community, just add a comment. We'll look at it and then we'll get it added in. But here's what I put. Here's what you're going to do. Here's our state-specific eligibility criteria. All right. Upload it here. Click the paperclip. Upload that in. If it's a document, PDF, Word document, whatever it is. Um, upload your document. Yep, 1 second, Amy, I got you. And then you're just gonna paste that prompt in, right? Modify, edit this however you like. Amy.
Because is this something that could eventually maybe be built into our personalization, so we're not having to copy and paste it in every time?
That is so good, Amy. Oh, that is so good. Okay, can someone capture inside of can someone from our internal team capture that for
Yes.
us? Thank you. I love that, Amy.
You're welcome.
Every office hours has to have this structure moving forward. This is good. Okay. Anything else? Are we good? Okay. Let's keep rolling. And we're only on part 3. Next week, we might need to have a part 2. Or also, this is a good public service announcement. I meant to say this earlier on. Karina, you should have kicked me. We will be rolling out our coffee chat. Karina, I'm butchering the name. Karina, I'll throw it to you as I get ready for our next prompt to quickly introduce what that is. Please go ahead, Karina.
Yeah, so it's called the Get It Done Together Coffee Hour. Basically, if you guys have ever done body doubling, which I have, it's a life changer and it's just something that's really fun. It's welcome to all educators. So if you want to invite your SLP bestie, your OT, basically we're just going to be co-working together. So we're going to start it out with just kind of sharing what we're drinking. I'm a matcha girl, bring your coffee, whatever it is that you like to drink. And we're going to leave our cameras on. Of course, if you don't want to, you don't have to. I'll play some music, but you're welcome to have your own playlist going, bring a task, a report, like a section of your report, whatever it is, obviously that you're able to do. And we're going to work together. We're going to have some fun with it and knock out a lot of work in an hour. I think there's something really motivating about doing work while other people are working. I don't know about you, but if I see someone else working, I'm more motivated to work. I'm like, okay, I can't let my ADHD win today. You know, if I see someone else doing it, I'm like, okay, I'm going to kind of jump on. And yeah, it's our first one after office hours. So come join us. You know, we're going to start 15 minutes after. So you have some time to stretch. Obviously, if you're able to join, figure out what tasks you're going to bring, get your coffee ready. And yeah, come hang out with us. It's going to be chill.
Thank you, Karina. Okay, I'm back inside of the prompting guide document and I'm noting our time. And here's what I want to do. We're not going to go through everyone, but I will highlight some of these. So we did number 1, number 2. The next one, and we kind of touched on this, but it's getting Sophia to help you think through what data you might need. Tony says, can we upload can we upload our county guidelines under the let me back up, let me read. Under the personalized customization of our account. If so, then would it always follow? Yes, so that's what Amy was getting at, is inside, and I'm back in the platform. I'm going to settings. I'm going to personalization. And we've been highlighting, we've added in personalizations based on your roles. You'll get specific tools. Here's your custom instructions, but I'm thinking adding another section that's a state specific or district specific guidelines. And then we can paste in or upload documents of your state specific criterion, guidelines, whatever it might be. And then when you click Save Changes, Sophia will respond. Now, be mindful, when you add that in, Sophia will respond to everything based on that. So that's something we'll have to work through as well. Good. Okay. We kind of did number 3, going to number 4. All right. You know, this is a good reminder. Megan says, can we upload our own report templates and have Sophia use that when she generates portions of a report? Yes. And we still need work to do it consistently over and over and over again. We keep saying we're going to have office hours on templates or using the context and editor document. Team, if we could just put this, what Megan is sharing, inside of a feature request or even in our office hours as a potential topic, we'll get back to that. Thank you, Megan. Okay, I'll pause here instead of going through the rest, which I think will be really, really great to do. You all get the general idea. You can grab any of these prompts, use them at each relevant part of the process. I'll pause here to open it up to the group for any questions, any concerns, any ideas, any problems of practice that you all might have wanted to share with us as well.
In response to the question that was just asked, I'm not tech savvy. So is there a reason or is there a way that when we're in that the tool and the chat piece can be like, I don't even know, they can talk to each other. So instead of bouncing back between the two, that I'm in a tool, that the tool and the chat are more one? I don't know. You know what I'm asking?
Yes, I'll throw it over to Ed, and Ed is probably gonna say he needs more context.
100%. So when you say a more tighter like connection, can you expand on like what would that look like in your kind of ideal world?
Well, let me clarify. I guess I'm still, I mean, I've been using this all year now, but I'm still confused many times on what I can do in chat versus in talking to Sophia versus what I can do in tools and, vice versa.
Yeah. Okay. So chat is more open-ended. Tools are intended to solve one specific problem. That's how I would immediately differentiate the two. Tools are kind of one-off, no history. What the information you give it and what you get out of it is going to be isolated from the main chat thread. So it doesn't contain the history of what you're going to do. I'll pause there. Does that help with that separation a little bit more? Yeah? Okay. Have you tried going through the tours yet as well?
Some.
Okay. I've tried to define the tools a little bit more because I realized with 50 plus tools, it's kind of like, what do I use, when and where? And so they include like descriptions of what also goes in there, which I think should help some of that. But also, like, please reach out to our CS team as well. Like, we can definitely create more, like a more tailored, more structured response around like how to delineate more and like where the real gaps are. Sometimes, like, I'm so close to this that all of it is secondhand, and I just need more time and more information to be able to dig in. But I'm more than happy to, because I think, like I keep saying in almost every meeting, is if you ask the question, I guarantee you other people also have the same exact question.
Yeah. Amy, is just a quick follow-up to that. Is the crux of your question coming from not knowing when to use chat, not knowing when to use tools, or is it, hey, I want to be able to keep conversations going after I use the tool in the conversation? That's what I was thinking too. Yep, because we talked about that a couple weeks ago.
Because last week or 2 weeks ago, you talked about reverse prompting, and I've been trying some of that. And so, but it takes like sometimes it takes a couple iterations of me talking to get that laid out like I exactly want it to. And so, and then I'm trying to do the reverse prompting to be able to save one to get it to spit it out exactly like that the next time.
Okay, I was wondering if this was a continuation of the previous conversation that we had, and it is. And so, you know how we decoupled the tools from the chat? What could be a worthy discussion is once you run WIS through the report writer tool, how can we keep having a conversation, so that it remembers and retains that history? Bye, Tony. Thank you. So it's a worthy discussion. Yep.
a part of me wonders if it's also workflow, because to me, the chat thread itself is pretty fragile. And so if you use the document as kind of like a draft area, you can keep editing portions of that document until you get it in a way that you are happy with. Does that make sense? That's how I think I would start approaching it, because the chat thread it's volatile as a result, because there's so much information in there, versus your kind of like little document on the side can serve as like the staging area while you work on the different parts. It's kind of how I envision it. Byron, maybe we could work on like a video of this. I think that there's something there.
Yeah, same. But as always, thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to join our team. We meet here every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you. This was, I think, one of the most meaningful and impactful, really getting into some of the weeds of our work, office hours that we've had in a very long time. So join us here every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. And until next time, take care, everyone.